Okay, welcome to 4th grade Math Corner. Today we are doing, or in this video, we are doing Module 6, Lesson 6. Our learning target today is that we will represent mixed numbers in area models and number lines and write them as decimals and fractions. We've already learned that mixed numbers have wholes and parts. We can write them as fractions, or we can write them as decimals. So here we have 2 and 35 hundredths. So we have already learned that the 2 is my whole number, so it's going to go in my ones place if I think about this on a place value chart. A place value chart, I would have my ones, my decimal to separate my parts, and then we learned that the next place is the tenths place, and after that is the hundredths place. We now have 35 hundredths. We cannot put 35, 2 digits in one place, so we have to leave the 5 and regroup the 30 hundredths as 3 tenths. So I would just write 35. It ends in the hundredths place, so we read it as 2 and 35 hundredths. I need to represent this on an area model as well. I know that I have 2 wholes. Here's 1, 2, 1 whole, 2 holes. Then I have another whole for my 35 hundredths. It is only broken into tenths, and we have learned that if you have 10 columns and we cut them into 10 rows, it'll create 100 pieces or hundredths. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I have 10 times 10, 100 pieces, and I'm going to color in 35. I know that this is actually tenths, and this is hundredths. So I'm going to color in 3 of the tenths. There's 10. There's a second tenth, which is 20 hundredths. Third tenth, which is 30 hundredths, or 3 tenths. And then I just need 5 more hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was able to show 2 wholes and 35 hundredths in an area model. To do it on a number line, I need to know that I have to jump to 2 holes. So I'm going to go 1, 2 holes, but I'm not done. I have more. If I look at this number line, it is only broken into tenths, but I need to get to hundredths. You should know by now that 10 hundredths are in every tenth. So I see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know I'm going to jump 3 tenths, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, but I'm not done. I need 5 hundredths. I know that in here I could draw 10 little lines, or 9 lines to get 10 little tiny spaces, but it's so hard to do that without them touching. I also know that 5 is half of 10, so I could use my best estimation and say that I would jump about here to do 5 hundredths. It's about halfway. And I need to label my number line 2 and 35 hundredths, or as a fraction, 2 and 35 out of 100, 2 and 35 hundredths. They could also get a little trickier. When we have one that is a single digit hundredths, it's really important that we remember the number, the place value chart, and where our numbers go. So if I think about this on a place value chart, and I have my ones, and then my decimal point to separate my wholes from my parts, I have my tenths, and then I have my hundredths. I need to put the 3 in the ones place, write my decimal to separate, and then I cannot put my 8 in my tenths place. This would be 3 and 8 tenths, or 3 and 80 hundredths. That is not correct. I have to make sure that I put my 8 in my hundredths place. And just as we learned previously earlier in the year, we have to have a placeholder for any number that doesn't have, or any place that doesn't have a number. And our placeholder is always 0. So I would write 3 and 800ths as a decimal by going 3 and no tenths, 800ths. This would read 3 and 8 hundredths because it ends in the hundredths place. When I color it on an area model, I'm going to make sure I color in 3 holes and then when I come over here, I have to again cut it into hundredths. So I know that 10 columns cut into 10 rows will be hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm only going to color in 300ths, no tenths. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I would do 10 less than a whole, or 2 less than a whole tenth, because that would be 800ths. I could have drawn a whole number line, but sometimes I just need that segment, that one little piece. So here on my number line, it's smaller, and I have it from 3 to 4 because I know 3 and 800ths is between 3 and 4. So if I start on 3, I only need to go 800ths. These are cut into tenths. I know that this is less than even 1/10 because it's 0. I know that 8 is closer to the next tenth, so I know it's about here, and I would label it on my number line 3 and 800ths, or 3 and 8 out of 100, 3 and 800ths. Part of your homework will be matching unit form, decimal form, and fraction form. Have a good day.